MRS was designed to focus on the processes of care along with both patients' and providers' experiences. The aggregate of these perspectives develop a story of the patient's episode of care ending in death. There are many powerful stories in the lives of our patients. This holds true at the end of their lives as well. As healers, we often shy away from the last moments of life and find it difficult to specifically focus on the events transpiring before death. The stories we are able to tell because of MRS shed a bright light on both the exemplary care and on areas where the system could improve. With MRS, multidisciplinary care teams can easily aggregate information and glean actionable insight. This intuitive technology takes a collaborative approach to implementing cross-disciplinary processes that optimizes resource utilization. MRS supports standardized definitions for system and process of care issues possibly contributing to adverse events, systematic organizational learning about patient safety and process of care vulnerabilities, actionable insights into system and process of care issues contributing to adverse events. MRS also acts as a vehicle for patient safety culture transformation. MRS is not peer review. Reviewers are trained system thinkers that can support transparency for system learning and can review patients' experience and where the system failed the patient rather than reviewing just a peer's care. MRS thus supports transparent, blame-free care environments, promotes multidisciplinary and multi-specialty conversations around difficult patient care outcomes, increases physician involvement in process improvement work. MRS has specific technical features that support the systems thinking methodology, workflow, data, and analytics. Key features of the software include customized workflow, case and task management, rules, role-based user access, authentication, care team coordination, closing the loop case communication with external communication, third-party system integration, real-time data visualization and analytics, proven high-quality indicators. Displayed tables within the system are able to be easily pulled out of the system. Key to tracking events are the mortality case indicators, MCI, that are used to monitor high-frequency events as identified through the mortality review process. The use of an indicator signifies that at some point during the patient's episode of care, there was an issue of that particular type that possibly contributed to an adverse outcome or death. They are a substitute for the typical concept of an adverse event. The use of the indicators is not meant to measure the epidemiology of an indicator, rather as a quantified recording of the places where the systems, times, failed the patients and providers. The MRS system uses mortality case indicators from a decade's worth of patient stories and learnings in major academic medical centers. Hospitals using MRS learned from their patients' experiences were able to make and right-size system improvements. For example, after identifying a trend of increased system frailties at triage, data supported the development of an admissions coordination office for multidisciplinary evaluation and triage of patients transferred from outside facilities. Another trend illustrated the need for mandatory RN training for early sepsis recognition and incorporation of these principles into rapid response team activation. In surgical cases, lessons learned led to a standardized clinical pathway for preoperative detection and postoperative respiratory monitoring of obstructive sleep apnea. Focusing on standards of care gaps resulted in the institution of an escalation of care policy for acutely deteriorating patients.